That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a clarity and a bit of confusion edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irishing. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. If you don't want to see my face, ain't nobody going to blame you for that. How do you think I feel? Call in lines 312-900-8815. Dial it up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by SI. Read about it. Great staff over there. Everybody has their own little feel that they add into it, their own little specialty touch. It's beautiful. I love all the content. Thanks for being over there already. And patreon.com/alwaysirish. He the former captain. He the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. Jared Clark, state championship coach and former Notre Damer. Jared Clark joining us over there. Nick Shepkowski from Sports Illustrated jumping over there a little bit. Oh, we got it popping. Thanks for everybody who's over there as well. All right. Let's get into this. Wild week in college football. Notre Dame was off. You got to sit there, soak it all in. No Notre Dame stress, but you got to soak everything in. What comes next? That's what I started thinking. I'm watching all this chaos and everything, and you're just thinking, where does Notre Dame fit in all this? Can Notre Dame and will Notre Dame make themselves fit into all this? Or what? Or what? I feel like we got some clarity, but also some confusion over what we saw over the weekend regarding the big picture in the whole country and Notre Dame, all of it. All of it. The confusion, it's like, are we seeing parity in college football? Like, is that what this experiment is? We're starting to see kind of just some more equal results here. Like, is that it? Or is this just random? One wild week? Or does it portend more to come? And then where my mind starts going is, now you got a bunch of these teams with one loss. What happens when you start getting to teams with 2 to 3? That's where this gets interesting. It's not teams going from 0 to 1 loss. It's, what does this committee start doing with 2 and 3 loss teams? And then you have 1 loss teams who maybe or maybe not don't have as good of schedules or aren't as in a tough a conference. How does this committee decide between 2 to 3 loss, let's be honest, SEC or Big Ten teams, and say a 1 loss Notre Dame or something like that? Man, this group has so much power. And it isn't just of who makes the playoff. It's about the seeding, too. It's about the seeding, too. It's really, really, really interesting if you think about it that way. So it's like, who's good? Who's bad? Do we have parity now? I don't know. Every time you think you're like, oh, I know, this team will beat that team, and this week's a boring week on the calendar and everything, boom! Tough acting, tenactin right in your face. You get all this. Look at all the action we got. Anything but boring. I'm an idiot. I was sitting there thinking, man, what a lame week to not have Notre Dame play. How many good ranked on ranked games? What kind of action are we going to get? What an idiot. Look at what happened. That's on me. That's my bad. So there is a little confusion about what's going on nationally and how it's all going to shake out. But there is some clarity. There's some clarity for Notre Dame. Win the rest of your games, you're going to be in the playoff. I mean, it's that simple. That's what I learned from this big experiment and all these wild results. And Notre Dame shifting upwards to be in that 12 window. If you win the rest of your games, you're going to be in the playoff. And you're going to be favored in all. I think you're going to be favored in all of them. And there's no reason that Notre Dame can't run the table. Other than the team's extremely beat up, weren't that great to begin with, and you lost to Northern Illinois. So those are some reasons. I mean, Notre Dame's should be favored in all those games. They can easily win all of them. But you could lose to anybody. If you could lose to Northern Illinois, you could definitely lose to anybody else on this schedule. That's the problem we find ourselves in this year. That's the problem we have. Knowing you can no-show to this extent at any given time is just, it's a dark cloud that hangs over all this. Me knowing this team is capable of no-showing that bad. It's always in the back of my head. I can't trust you. Relationships are built on trust. I can't trust you. And so I just don't know what we're going to get. I don't know if we're going to get any in-betweens on this one. A part of me feels like it's either going to be a grindy, gritty Notre Dame team that gets better week by week, little by little, grinds out wins, ends up playing, trending up, playing their best ball at the Coliseum against USC in that dump at the end of the year for a spot in the playoff. Or the wheels fall off, man. Too many injuries. The passing game's still a problem. The offensive line is just too young, too beat up, too whatever to be able to develop, to let this offense do what it needs to do to run the table. And you end up going 9-3 or 8-4, and everybody's miserable. Can't get enough unfiltered Notre Dame football talk? Be sure to go over to patreon.com/alwaysirish. Former captain Mike Goolsby and myself. Do that. Screw it.
Oh, we never won anything. It's been 30 years.
And oh yeah, you'd be going 9-3 and 8-4, and your best defensive recruit left you for Michigan, and your best offensive recruit and quarterback just left you for Auburn. For now. It's not a good spot to be if you're Marcus Freeman after year 3. So which way is it going to go? How mature is this program? What is the leadership on this program going to do? Are the injuries just too much to expect Notre Dame to win the rest of these games as winnable as they look? Like, I'm trying to figure out whether all those injuries are a legitimate excuse or a weak excuse. You should still, I think, beat all these teams, but there are a lot of injuries, man, to key contributors, both sides of the ball. Big time production it's just really annoying. It's a rough place to be. So, it's just, I don't know which way it's going to go, but a part of me thinks it's either going to go all one way or all the other, where they come out against Stanford in a different mind frame. They're energized by what they saw last week in college football, and it reaffirms belief in the team that they're in the hunt for a playoff spot or whatever, and they go and they play with a different level of intensity the rest of the way. The passing game gets going a little bit. You get in a little bit of a roll, and we're off to the races. Or the bottom just falls out. The bottom falls out. You have another day where you got bad injuries, young guys playing that make a couple mistakes. You make a couple bad offensive drives or whatever, and then Navy beats you. Like, I don't know. And then you're looking at a couple more losses or something stupid. I don't know which way it's going to go, but this season is at a crossroads right now, and it was just such an interesting inflection point with us off middle of the year, one game short of middle of the year, all this drama that happened in the country, and then it bumps you up a few spots right back into playoff contention. Which way is it going to go, man? The mission is so clear now. Each week is a playoff elimination game. It's that simple. We've been over it a million times. There are some years I think a 2-loss Notre Dame team could get in this 12-teamer. It ain't this year. With one of the losses being Northern, it ain't. So the mission is crystal clear, man. You just got to win. You're in elimination games the rest of the way, and you got to win them. And I want to see, starting with Stanford, does it feel to me like Notre Dame's approaching it with that level of urgency? Not panic and stress, but just urgency of knowing what is on the line every single game from the rest of the way. And it's like, man, that's a tough ask. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah, no one feels bad for this team. They should be playing with one extra game in their pocket, and they're not. You lost to Northern Illinois at home, man. You did. And it turns out they're not even good. They've lost 2 of 3 games since that one. So they're not even that good. You lost to Northern Illinois. So yeah, it's a tough ask to run the table since week 2. Nobody feels bad for you. This is the position you allowed yourself to be in by not preparing to play Northern Illinois. So a part of me's worried with all these injuries and as beat up as you are. There's one more loss out here waiting to find Notre Dame, and I don't know where it is on the schedule, but there's another one because you're just so thin now, and there's going to be consequences for that. But then there is still a part of me that says Notre Dame's still better than all these teams, and if they play good football, they could go win them. Go on a little bit of a heater. I could see Riley Leonard getting hot. I could see that offense getting a little bit more confidence. And you get a few more games under your belt, and that offensive line gels a little bit more. Like, I could see all that. I don't think that's far-fetched. So I don't know, man. Which way is this going to go? And I'm telling you, the experiment I'm waiting to see is, where does a 2-loss Alabama get slotted in the 12-team playoff? Like, I'm wondering. They dropped. I'm surprised they dropped so far. Where'd they go? All the way down to 7? What happens if you have a 2-loss Alabama team? Like, is Notre Dame and all these other 1-loss teams automatically ahead of them? Or do you start going, well, the SEC is a tough week-to-week schedule, whatever. That's where this gets to me. It isn't that first loss. I want to see what happens with these teams with 2 losses and maybe even a 3-loss and see where this committee puts them compared to some 1-loss teams in lower conferences or an independent schedule or something. That's where it gets interesting. So I don't have answers on that. Notre Dame, man, just there's a big fork in the road. There's a fork in the road. Are you going to play good football, get better week to week, claim a spot in this playoff? Or are you going to let all the injuries get to you and it unravels and it all goes bye-bye and you're in a bowl game no one wants to be in or cares about again? What way is it going to go? I don't know. Thanks for being here for the show. Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.